Hi, I'm Alexandra, and I turn old technology into something new and usable in our modern world, mostly whilst maintaining the original aesthetic. So today we are taking a look at the power brick. Now the seller did tell me, listen, there's definitely something wrong with the power brick, so I thought let's do our troubleshooting there. We already know from the unboxing that the screen won't work, but maybe when the power brick is repaired, we can find life within this old machine.
This power brick looks great, but it uses some strange connection type that I've never seen before. Apart from that, if this particular brick does not work for our purpose, getting inside might give us an insight about how we can connect this cord to another suitable 18 volt 2.5 ampere charger. From the power rating of 35 watts, we can tell that this machine was rather light on juice. I would say from everything in the 90s because the batteries weren't so sophisticated. What am I talking about? You had to charge your phone maybe once a week, twice if you played Snake all day. Let me quickly take you through my troubleshooting steps. Step number 1, ensure that it is plugged in and switched on. Now, as we plug this in, we see that the light is not turning on, which either suggests the LED is burnt out from a too high voltage flowing through, which is unlikely considering how the voltage is lowered for certain things like the LEDs. Or the more likely assumption is that the problem existed before even getting through the hurdles to the output or the LED. So given the small chance that it is just the LED and the computer not working, I am therefore checking the output of the power brick with the multimeter, just to be sure before we go ahead and do the wrong thing, which is opening up the power supply. The first thing we need to know when we are attempting to get into sealed things is that it is sealed for a reason. Overall, there is dangerous high voltage inside. In my case, it would be 220 volts. And the best we can do is stay away from it. But staying away from it wouldn't exactly make for good fault finding or a repair job. Or even worse, it wouldn't make for good content on YouTube. I know that some components are sometimes glued together, not only screwed together, and mostly it is because the content is of such nature that it is not serviceable by the end user or by anyone in general, and mainly more expensive to pay a technician to check it than it would be to outright replace it, specifically referring to something like batteries in a laptop. Right now, we have no choice. As this laptop comes from the early 90s, there is no backup plan in the back of my mind that somewhere out there is a person with multiple of these devices that will have exactly what I need. Here I am proceeding with caution, trying to get the little pads off to find the screws. When I take the screws out, I keep them safe until the moment I'll eventually put everything back together and make it look as authentic as the day it rolled out of the factory. Getting these screws out requires a T9 driver. It's the little 6-point star thingy. Opening this case is proving a bit more difficult. Firstly, I am considering, is this glued on? Or are there any screws that I cannot see? The plastic being old requires a certain finesse to open it. Therefore, we can grab our trusty credit card, or in my case, an old useless piece of plastic card, like a DSTV or a medical aid cards you have lying around. I can finally open it, just to be met with a surprise metal foam enclosure. It's rather stiff, it feels well closed, it feels like the wonderful thing, and I believe this is common of the time to prevent electrical and magnetic interference inside and outside. As you probably deduced, I am struggling way more than I should opening this. But the patience and finesse will pay off soon when I get to repair this power supply. So when you do eventually get into places that you shouldn't, my next piece of advice would be, since a power supply can actually hold charge, It is prudent to always prepare for the worst. Any electronic device can still hold a charge and be unable to discharge itself due to a broken or missing decoupling capacitor. And only after discharging, we can continue on the close-up visual inspection. So let's play a game. See if you can spot the problem in the next shot. Leave your answer in the comments. I'm waiting to hear. As the smart people of YouTube has noticed, yes, there are resistors missing, and we know there are resistors because the board is clearly marked with R. But to know the exact values of these resistors, it is advisable to look at the manufacturer's schematic. And if that is not available, turn to the internet because there is somebody who knows.
I'm going to sign up on this cliffhanger right here whilst we are waiting for the reply of I80386SX. Got it! How can you remember that name? I'll put it here. We're waiting for the reply.
2 seconds later.
Actually, me from the future decided not to use the power brick because it's kind of cumbersome and there are other options. I've been Alexandra and I'm building the perfect computer engineer's computer. It's a mouthful. Before taking even a single computer engineering class. In the next episode, we'll proceed to disassembly, and when it's disassembled, we'll start with the body repairs, specifically to keep the chassis as one piece for the next 30 or so years.